Do you want to really know why the stock market is red and companies are crashing out over Donald Trump's tariffs? I'm going to tell you why. So we all know companies for years have been outsourcing all of their products and all of their development outsourced to other countries, right? The reason why companies started outsourcing was because it was cheaper. When I say cheaper, I'm going to use Lululemon as an example. So in the paper yesterday, there was a story about Lululemon having their leggings made in Vietnam. I used to work for Lululemon as a senior leader, so I'm not making this up. The pants cost $150, and that's how much they sell them for in the United States. However, they make them in Vietnam. They pay those workers pennies on the dollar. So really and truly, those leggings are probably like $30. And you can go on Amazon right now and find comparable leggings, comparable to Lululemon, for $39.99. So it's the same pants, like Alo Yoga. It's all the same stuff. Skims, you can find all of that comparable dupe on Amazon. Why is it cheaper on Amazon? Because those products are in China. So Lululemon could, in effect, make their yoga pants in the United States, but they would have to pay American workers a living wage. They wouldn't make any money if they did that. I mean, they'd make money, but they wouldn't have the markup that they would have, right? Because our living wage is way higher than Vietnam. So let's pay those workers in Vietnam and Cambodia and China pennies on the dollar. These products don't cost more than $30, and then we'll import them to the United States with barely any import tariff tax, and then sell them to the consumer minimum $148. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the reason why the companies are crashing and the stock market is all red, because now those companies who've outsourced damn near everything have to refigure out how they're going to make their products. I'm going to give you another example. Remember back in 2020 when nobody could find face masks and everyone was ordering them on Amazon because China was the only place where we could get them because we apparently couldn't make cloth face masks here in this country? We could have, but those type of things were outsourced. Remember when the hospitals couldn't get like the meds that they needed and they had to like get it all from China because pharmaceuticals for the most part, antibiotics, things like that, were outsourced. You know, there's a commercial on TV where I think that the name of the company is Allegiance or something. They are the only company, I think, allegedly, I'll say, that makes American flags in America. If you go on Amazon right now to buy an American flag, it's made in China. Remember when we used to joke about everything saying made in China, made in China? This country has outsourced to Vietnam, China, Cambodia, India. We've outsourced everything. And the car manufacturing industry, everything is outsourced. So now these companies that are on Wall Street are all red and crazy because they have to figure out how they're going to be able to stay in business, because what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to increase the price of everything for us to buy it. Meanwhile, the price was already increased. The markup was like over 100%. Remember, Lululemon leggings, $148. Made in Vietnam, no more than $40, because you can get them on Amazon right now. You can go Google it. Now they have to figure out how they're going to be able to make their yoga pants in the United States, but they can't because they can't pay American workers a living wage. I mean, they could, but then that would hit their bottom line. So all of the bonuses and all those big fat salaries that those senior leaders make, they would have to cut all that so that they could pay the regular people to make the stuff. So that is why the stock market is red. That is why Donald Trump is saying we have to start making stuff here. We have to reverse that outsourcing that happened back in the 80s where we pushed everything to other countries. Like, you know, when you call customer service, it's someone in India or some other country. It's not here. We don't have call centers here anymore. We don't have manufacturing here anymore. And now people are saying, well, we don't have the infrastructure to build any of that stuff. Well, that might be true in some cases because we outsourced everything. There was a guy on the news this morning talking about he's a shrimper. His family had been shrimpers for decades, and they had to get their shrimp from Cambodia. Why are we eating shrimp from Cambodia? We got water here. We got shrimp in the water. And he was saying now there's no infrastructure for them to outsource. Like the farmers in Wyoming, they outsource their beef. They get their beef, not outsource. They get their beef from Australia because there's not farmers here because they outsourced everything. They've outsourced everything. So these companies are red because they have to come up with another plan. And do you know what their plan is going to be? They're going to charge us. We're going to have to pay for it because they're not going to take a hit to their bonuses. We're going to pay for it. And then the left gets to say, see, Donald Trump caused inflation. So when we're talking about these CEOs and these senior level executives giving themselves bonuses, they're able to give themselves bonuses because of the markup that they charge on the products. We're already paying 3-4 times more than that thing is actually even worth. So now they have to scramble and figure out, what are we going to do? They're not going to take a hit on their bonus. They're going to just make those Lululemon yoga pants $250. And now that China is saying that they're going to add more tariffs to us, did you see the chart that I put in my video yesterday? We have been like literally sitting on our hands and giving the rest of the world our products to make while we struggle. And then when we need the product, we got to go get it from them and then they charge us. Remember when there was no food on the shelves in 2020? Because everything is outsourced. Remember how much of our food was coming from Canada? Because we outsource everything. We don't make shit here. So I don't feel bad for the stock market being red. I do feel bad for the people who've invested in that fake 401k, allegedly. I'll say allegedly, but 401ks, like these companies that you work for, they're picking where they're going to put your money and then they're matching it. Matching what? So it's not the tariffs that is the problem. The problem is we outsource everything, even labor. And the outsourcing is because these companies were incentivized to outsource their products. They were given incentives. Send it over there. We can't make it here. We used to make it here. What happened? We're more technically sound than we've ever been as a country, but we can't make a flag here. Let me know down in the comments. Do you understand? If you don't understand, ask me a question. If you do understand, let me know.